looks like we are live here from beautiful, usually sunny downtown San Diego, here at Comic-Con 2018. So thank you all for being with me here today. We have live on Facebook, live on Twitter, and one of the things I asked this last week was if anyone had a few questions that they wanted to ask, and we got some great responses, and I'm going to be answering them kind of live throughout this weekend here in downtown San Diego. So I got a few questions I'm going to answer for you guys right now. I think we have about 3 of them, and let's get to it. So what's our first question from people?
Your grandfather was from New York. Did he have any favorite sports teams?
So the question was, my grandfather, obviously he grew up in New York City, and they were asking if he had any favorite sports teams or what sports teams he was kind of interested in. My grandfather, he didn't really have that much time to do sports. He was kind of a workaholic. He was always working. So we didn't have a chance really to watch much or many of them. That being said, in his later years, he always had his trusty New York Yankees hat. So for all the people out there in New York, yes, he always wore around Thousand Oaks his New York Yankees hat. In fact, there's kind of a joke that he'd almost like bless a certain restaurant because he'd always leave his hat behind. So I think Carl's Jr., we used to go in there in Thousand Oaks, and they would have literally a plethora of Yankees hats that he would have left behind every time we went there to eat. So it's pretty cool in that regards.
You're at Comic-Con today. What's your favorite memory at Comic-Con with your grandfather?
So what's my favorite memory at Comic-Con with my grandfather? A ton, really. I mean, we used to come down, obviously, literally every year. We'd always drive down from Thousand Oaks. I think some of the most fun times that I had at Comic-Con, of course, was my grandfather, my grandmother, myself, and Julie Schwartz, who you all probably know. We would literally just drive down all the way from Thousand Oaks to San Diego. We'd be stuck in traffic. And it would be listening to some of the cool stories that Julie and my grandfather would talk about back at DC Comics back in the days. And it was just neat being able to see that. And other than that, just seeing all the fans, seeing all the family friends that we bumped into maybe once or twice a year. San Diego Comic-Con really became like family. You know, and running into everyone and going into the masquerade balls, it was just an amazing time that now I'm glad that I'm coming back and bringing my kids here as well, so that they can kind of join in the fun and see everything that there is to see.
Awesome. We all know superheroes are what made Jack's name. But what was his favorite genre to draw and create for?
Oh, that's cool. So my grandfather, obviously, he was adept at creating multitudes of superheroes. He loved the science behind them. So I would say, even if maybe if life had taken him down a different path, he might have done more so with maybe like drawing for scientific books. Obviously, you guys know in the war, in World War II, he was a scout, so he would draw either maps or locations of Nazi hideouts and that type of thing. So he loved science, he loved geography, so I could see him maybe doing that. I know that he had a great time working with Joe Simon on the romance comics. I know both of them enjoyed that quite a bit as well. So I think he really enjoyed all types, but I think with superheroes it gave him the ability really to draw from the cosmic source, and draw that information into them and put it to paper. So I think with the superheroes, that's what he felt most comfortable with, because with that imagination, it could just run wild. And now we see him all on the big screen. So obviously it worked for him, and I think he was very happy doing it. Right on. So I think that's all the time we have for right now. Thank you guys for joining me live. I appreciate everyone watching this. I will be doing more of these throughout the weekend. Again, thank you very much. I am Jeremy Kirby, Jack Kirby's grandson. Follow me on Twitter at Jack Kirby Comics, or of course on Facebook Live, which is Jack Kirby, the King of Comics. So I look forward to seeing you all down at San Diego Comic-Con 2018, and we'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone.